Hello, and welcome to Around the Political World with John Rothman. I am your host, John Rothman. If you're a fan of the show, make sure to hit the follow button on the top right of Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you are listening at this very moment. When you hit follow, leave a review or share an episode with a friend. It helps other people discover the show, keeps us going. As I like to point out each and every weekday, well, it expands our base. There is so much in the news. Let me bullet point a few key items. First of all, a new pope, a pope of the Americas, because he is a native of Chicago, but also spent years in Peru. A dual national, because he is a citizen of the United States and of Peru. He now will carry a Vatican passport because, well, he's the pope. What does it all mean? It does matter who is a pope. I am not a Catholic, but I follow avidly what the church does and how it does it. Some of you have read the article that I wrote on Pope John the 23rd and the Jews. It was the lead article in Inside the Vatican some years ago. An incomparable pope. That's the title of the article. You can get it by going online, and I would suggest you read the extended version. Now, an individual can have a huge impact on life, but particularly in this case, a pope. Just take a look at the popes we've had in recent years, and you can see the tremendous power and influence of a pope, not only when it comes to the church, but the world. John the 23rd played a role during the Cuban Missile Crisis in de-escalating conflict. And we saw Pope John Paul II and his impact when it came to, well, ultimately the collapse of the Soviet Union. We can go down the line and show how a pope can influence history. So we wish Pope Leo best of luck. He's going to need it. Now, I want to move on to the United States and what is happening here in our own country. It has been announced that Donald Trump is going to nominate to be the acting U.S. Attorney for New York, Judge Jeannie Pirro. Those of you who've listened to her, Jeanine Pirro, on Fox, understand that she is a Trump acolyte, that she defended the whole question of election conspiracy. In fact, I listened yesterday to a collage of statements that she had made. She is, well, a former judge, a former prosecutor. People think highly of her in one sense, but she is, without a doubt, another Trump apologist. And I have to tell you, I consider it appalling that she will have the position of acting U.S. Attorney in New York. Actually, interim is the title that is appropriately used. And I want to talk about a dismissal. Carla Hayden, who has been the chief librarian since 2016, has been fired by Donald Trump. She has done an exemplary job, but ideologically, she is clearly at odds with Donald Trump. What he is doing now is purging the government of key individuals who he disagrees with. And Dr. Carla Hayden's dismissal is absolutely stunning. She did a magnificent job at the Library of Congress, and I must tell you, this is another example of Donald Trump and his extreme positions. I want to point out something else, and that has to do with NOAA, the weather agency. It's now going to stop tracking costs of extreme weather. Why? Why? Because Donald Trump is cutting NOAA, and when there is a big disaster when it comes to the weather, we know that the essential role of NOAA in all of this is critical. Donald Trump is gutting NOAA. And now we are told that centrists in the Republican Party are very upset about proposed cuts to Medicaid. That's right, not Medicare, but Medicaid. 80 million Americans are on Medicaid. And the Trump administration is now proceeding to deal with them as well. This is every day a blow, another blow. Some would say it is simply a distraction. I would say quite the contrary. This is a president with an agenda, and I want to come back to a point that we made repeatedly during the late presidential campaign. And that is that Donald Trump is following Project 2025 almost to the letter. Now, he denied during the course of the campaign this master strategy to reform the government. But there is no doubt that that is precisely what he is now doing. I also want to mourn the passing of a Supreme Court Justice, retired, David Souter of New Hampshire. David Souter retired young, went back to New Hampshire, continued to preside at various court hearings dealing with the appeals courts. But David Souter, who was a Republican, was a genuine American hero. He took stands that, frankly, will be reflected in histories about David Souter. He is not the kind of Republican that Donald Trump would put on the Supreme Court. So we now face a situation where, once again, we have change taking place. And Donald Trump's changes, I must tell you, disturbed me profoundly. The future of our country lies in the effective use of power. And there is no doubt that Donald Trump's abuses of power continue to flourish and grow. I have received emails from some of you who are ardent Trump supporters. Don't you understand? Don't you see what's happening? If the director of the Library of Congress, the chief librarian, if Judge Pirro can become the acting interim attorney in New York, on the federal level, do you understand what this means? It is a complete distortion of the way in which presidential power should be used. Now, the argument will be made, but John, it's constitutional. He has the right to do it. Perhaps, but it doesn't make it right. And the question will become, at what point will Republicans stand up and just say no? That's what I'm waiting for. The GOP revolt against Medicaid cuts, the attitude now with NOAA stopping tracking costs of extreme weather, and so many other incidents day by day, hour by hour, taking place in the Trump administration. Well, it is something that should cause us all great concern. And by the way, more than concern, it's going to affect all of our lives. No question about it. Thanks for tuning into another episode of Around the Political World with John Rothman. Make sure to follow along. Let me know your thoughts on the show by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts and sharing an episode with a friend or colleague so we can continue to grow and expand, which, of course, is our goal. You can interact with me on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and, of course, by directly contacting me through my email. Many of you do, and I'm very grateful for that. And I want to say a special word of thanks to Gogo Zoger, the wonderful producer of this podcast. Gogo, I'll see you Monday, along with everybody else, right here on Around the Political World with John Rothman. Have a great weekend. Oh, I forgot. Have a happy Mother's Day. For those of you who celebrate your mothers, as may I say, we all should. See you Monday.